There's three particular steps that are important. The first step is that in building motivation, you've got to find the point at which a person can just say yes to what is happening. And there's various ways in which this can be done. The first way is through charismatic communication, through a win-win language in which you yourself get in touch with your dream and you're able to share your dream in a way that leads others to want to share the same enthusiasm they're seeing manifested in you. That's the first part. The second part is through the process of the dream circle. And the dream circle comes out of a generative question when you're building a team of people who are going to carry the project through to its completion. And the team circle can be people with skills that are necessary for the project. It can be friends and relatives. It can be neighbours. It can be professionals and work colleagues. But they're people that you, as the project initiator, has some interest in working with. And on the basis of that charismatic communication, you invite them to come to the dream circle.
Okay.
When they come to the dream circle, there is a generative question that is asked, and the generative question is always a question that has emotional power in the life of the person you're asking. So the generative question for dream circles usually is, what would this project have to be like? So that at the completion of this project, or the first stage of this project, within X amount of time, you're really able to say, I am so glad that I was a member of this team. And each person then has an answer to that question. And what happens as it goes around the circle, that stimulates others in the circle to get further in touch with their own needs and visions and dreams. So that's the second way. The third way, and it leads into a fourth one, is once you've created the plan for the project, you've created the strategy, is to ask people three questions. And the first question is, which out of all of these tasks and activities, and there might be 40 in the diagram, which of these tasks and activities would you be personally enthusiastic to be part of a team to bring that task and activity to fruition? To make sure that that one task or activity happens. And there may be multiple activities that a person is interested in. That's the first question. The second question is, which of these tasks and activities would you be really worried about? Because you know you can't do it. And that if someone asked you to do it, you'd make a big mess of. But if you were to learn the skill of how to do it, you know that that would have a big effect on improving your personal competence. And the third question you ask is, which of these tasks and activities could you do easily, because you've done it so many times? But if you're asked again to do the same thing, you'd just be bored by it. And that builds a third level of commitment that bridges between the dreaming and the doing stage. Now, the final one is that once you have identified the total cost of a project, with a group of volunteers, what you do is to ask the group of volunteers that if you were part of a team of no less than 4 people, would you be prepared personally, if this project doesn't raise the money it needs or runs at a loss, would you be prepared personally to reach into your own pocket and pay for a share of the loss? Now, the thing about that last question is that it is not an attempt to manipulate the person into saying yes. You have to be able to celebrate a no answer in exactly the same way as you celebrate a yes answer. But what happens is you'll find that group of people who say yes are the people who are going to make sure that your project doesn't run at a loss, because they're going to be committed to not having to pay out of their own pocket to make it happen. So I think in those 4 ways that you can really build motivation for quite large groups of volunteers.